between calls, and then I get to come see you all. Um, I appreciate you all joining me, and that these lives have been going a little bit longer than in the past. And that is because we've been having more people join in live, which is making me think I should set up a standard time of doing these live sessions. Although I am concerned that if I make it too rigid for myself, I will not continue to put out the content. So I'm trying to be consistent every day and provide little snippets that you can apply to your daily life so you're not feeling alone. Hi, Michelle. Yay! I don't want anybody to feel alone on this journey of change and transformation because, you know, I've been there, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing these videos for everybody, is because I wish that there was somebody like me giving out this information so I could make those 1-degree shifts every day so I could be more aligned within myself. And I just was not able to find people that I felt were in alignment and in integrity. Those are two things that, it's very challenging to find people who are in alignment with being their true self, their most authentic self, and on the path of learning and discovery. I mean, we're all doing this work. We're all being called to become more aligned. So today, I wanted to talk about why do they act or react that way. And they is you, because you cannot change them. But sometimes those people who are reacting that way are reflecting back to us what we need to address. So I thought I would use this example brought to me by a client today, and it is this specific situation. It is two people, here's the scenario, two people who are working on their own personal journeys. They're both spiritual, and one person contacted my client and they had an exchange. And the exchange was essentially one person crossing the boundaries and imposing their thoughts, ideas, and suggestions onto this other person and recommendations. And then my client made a response back saying that was honoring their truth, totally aligned with their truth, and gave it to the other person. And the other person now responds back with, you hurt my feelings. The things that you said hurt, and you're supposed to be on this spiritual journey, and I didn't think what you did was right, because she gave back that piece of information. So I want to use this example as a learning opportunity, because number one, my client is still on the journey, right? But they haven't processed through some of their pain in relationship to boundaries. I mean, I can go on and on and on about what happened, but it is specific to not being in a neutral state. So what you could say is one person was triggering another person, and then they were triggering this person, and then the triggering went back and forth. And therefore, they are reacting to their emotional states. Okay, so that's very common. But what they're missing, both of them were missing this one aspect, which is neutrality, right? Where you can have an opinion and not be charged or triggered by what other people's choices or ideas are. Like, you're entitled to have like your own opinion, right? So what both people in that instance were missing was neutrality. And when you're not able to get yourself emotionally stable, that means that you have processed through your own stuff. Emotional processing, your triggers are not their fault. That's not their responsibility, okay? So then what else is missing? Mental discipline. right? The mental discipline that says, I have a choice in this situation to react or respond. Now, neither people were wrong in the situation, but what is the outcome, right? The outcome is there's going to be some conscious choices that are going to be able to be made. And when you are being triggered, when you don't have the mental discipline to be in a conscious state, to make a conscious choice, you will react. And that's what's happening, is they were both triggering and reacting to each other. Now, again, nobody's wrong, but it's like we're always looking at why are they reacting that way. And the reason is simple. They're not in a neutral state. They haven't processed all their emotional stuff, which, most people haven't. And they don't have a mental discipline to decide, to consciously decide that this is not something I'm going to engage in. And bottom line is, when you don't have those things, you have instability. Now, being unstable is nobody's preference. Nobody wants to be unstable, okay? But it happens. So when there is instability within you because you've gotten triggered, that's when you become empowered. Oh my gosh, they're triggering me. That's when you take a pause and you don't react, you don't engage, you take care of yourself. You go back and you do your own work. That's the beautiful thing about people reflecting us in the process, is that we get an opportunity in the moment that we're triggered, like, oh my God, I'm so fired up, that you can then make a change. And it's that fire that should be the indicator. But most people get so fired up, they go into reaction. And that's when we get the victimizer, like they did this to me and I did this to them, and there's blame, and you know the story. You've experienced it. We all have. So the key here is for you to know that being in a state of neutrality, which is what I bring my clients to in every single session, you will experience neutrality. The more you experience neutrality, you will become more stable. It'll be easier for you to get to a state of neutrality when you've instituted practice. Okay? But the key is that you must know that when you are in a state of neutrality, you're less reactive. You can't put it on them and say, you need to get neutral. No, you can't tell them what to do, because you are only responsible for your own self, your own reactions. I consult to all types of people. Mostly, I consult to people who are open and willing to experience themselves in a new way. That's my forte. People who are in crisis is also my forte. However, if you are just on the journey and you like to explore different aspects of yourself, then yeah, you try it, check it out. If you want to be able to learn how to turn off fight or flight, simple things that I do in a first session that I don't do once you become practiced in certain techniques. But usually what I do is I teach my clients how to really do energetic hygiene. Most people know they need to brush their teeth, but they don't know how to clean their own energy field. And so I teach my clients how to manage their energy and direct it more succinctly and directly, so they can have more vitality and success. That's what I focus on for me and my clients. I always want my clients to know that they're not dependent on anybody outside themselves, that when they come to me each session, I try to give them something that will work for them to make them stronger within, because as we become stronger within, we create and we contribute to the collective in a way that's honoring of ourselves, honoring of our unification with the creator energy. And that's what I feel like I'm here to do, is just to help others align, to be in unity consciousness, because that's where we all get stronger. Pablo, what would you want to work on? I'm curious. People write interesting things on here. Gary, I'm so sorry that you feel like you're locked in a basement and you can't get out and you're thirsty. What I would say is that the mind is often very much like a prison. And I would, Nelson Mandela is a great teacher to many of us who talks about the long walk to freedom and how the mind and our mental constraints could really keep us in a limited fashion. So look at how your mental limitations are keeping you in your own prison. Thank you for that contribution, Gary. Somebody said, Gary, open the door. And I'm saying open the door to being more open to possibilities and potentials that you create from within. Nelson Mandela created his whole path from unification, his whole path from coming to peace. He did not get stuck in the victimizer, projecting you did this and you did that. That's a beautiful analogy for somebody who's overcome some tragic situations. Pablo. I try to get advice here when you are live, but it freezes. Communication skills with women. Well, I just talked about it. Get neutral. You don't have any attachment to the outcome. Stabilize. Do your emotional work. If you worked on processing your emotions, that will change how you communicate with everybody. Men, women, dating, work. How we communicate is convoluted because we're always being triggered, or we're thinking. A lot of men try to strategize their way into situations, but once they get into them, they can't close the deal. However, what I will say is that when you process your emotions and you become emotionally intelligent, your communication will allow for a vulnerability that will keep people interested. Pablo, you're making me want to zip up my hoodie here. People are always shy. No attachment to the outcome. That's huge. That's neutrality. When you can let go of having attachment to the outcome, you will find a state of neutrality. It's the mind that is so focused on the outcome. I have a class on here. It's called Intention Setting to Synchronicity. Highly recommend you do the entire class. Every day it builds on the next day and it teaches you the power of setting intentions. Neutrality is essentially tapping into what's called the 0-point frequency. You could look that up, 0-point frequency or neutrality or the God spot. I mean, people call it multiple different things, but neutrality is where you can access more potentials than the mind can conceive. So that's number one. Number two, when you are doing your emotional work, the language in which you speak will shift to a resonance of authenticity, which, even though you might not be thinking it, it allows people to understand you at the level of the heart, which transcends what we can think. You know, when you are at stillness and at peace and in your heart, and you really open space for others to hear and to listen and to be present, that is a gift. And when you do that in communication with others, you create an authentic connection. And that creates meaning. And most people are missing meaning in their life. So the two women that I was talking to you about that were reacting to one another, they haven't learned all of their lessons yet. That's all. Neither one of them were wrong. And we all have an opportunity to learn from those people that present to themselves. The ego mind will fool everybody. So that's why the connection to the heart is so important. Any other questions here? Otherwise, I don't want to keep talking just to talk. Let's see. I need advice on well, you need to attract that. So Pablo, he says he needs advice on talking to women that have a good head on their shoulder. And good women are not hard to find. It's just that you have a limited perspective of what that will look like. And those mental limitations are what I'm offering you that will go away when you are in a neutral state and that you are processing your emotions and you create a practice of mental discipline. Mental discipline is not about being rigid, it's about being open. And when you can take off those limitations and even notice that I think it's rare to find women that have a good head on their shoulders. Like that statement in and of itself is a statement that's coming from limitation. So that means that you're seeing your outward projection from a space of limitation. So what you want to do is go within your heart and start to look at, where do I need to heal myself? Where do I need to have some forgiveness so I can open up and actually see what's right in front of me? Because there are people that are amazing human beings and you will resonate with them different when you are open. Anyways, so here's why they're reacting that way, and here's why they are you. This is why you are reacting. You're not in a neutral state of being. You have created instability that needs and requires a mental discipline, and you need to start finding emotional processing tools that work for you. When you are incorporating all four of those things, you won't be as reactive to them, and you will be okay with them reacting because you're in pure acceptance and neutrality. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much for being here. I am Kiana Sage, and I guide people to peace. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye.